Okay, today we're going to go over how to mark our script. Our first show we're going to do is going to be called Conversations, and it is a talk show. Talk shows are not just people talking back and forth. Talk shows are always accompanied by roll-ins or B-roll or something else that adds to the story, because talking heads are boring. It's boring to watch a person just sit there and talk. So we are going to have roll-ins included in this show. When I am marking the script for our first time, each class will have a different set of roll-ins, so we're going to leave that blank for right now. But we can start talking about how we're going to design our show. First thing we have to do is figure out a floor plan for our show. Okay, if this is our studio, we know we're going to have one talent here, and then we're going to have another talent over here. I'm going to make this our host and this our guest. Okay, this is going to be shot by camera 2. This will be shot by camera 1. Camera 3 may be back here for a wide shot, but I'm not sure how often we're going to use it, but we have other options. The reason we do not use camera 3 for a host or a guest is because it doesn't have a teleprompter. One of the other options that we have, because 3 isn't going to be a pretty wide shot, we have an ME, a mixed effects, which will have a box of cameras 1 and 2. So I like to draw my floor plan, then figure out how my talent will be in their shots. It helps me visualize my show. On the video side, I have 4 monitors that I can look at. We're going to have additional monitors with graphics and roll-ins, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. What I like to do is to set up what my shots will look like so it'll help me direct. This gives me an idea of what it looks like directing in the switcher. In my perfect world, when we are allowed to have talent on the same set, I like to set up my shots so the talent is looking at each other when they're talking, not away from each other. It makes it easier to direct, but we don't have to deal with that right now. So camera 1 is going to be kind of a medium close-up of our host. Okay. Camera 2 is going to be a medium close-up of our guest. One of the things we like to do when setting up the shots is to try to make them look as even as possible. We want to look at cutting our people in the same spot on their body. I wouldn't want to have my host cut just above the chest and have my guest cut at the waist, because then she'll look much smaller. So we want to try to get them the same size. Camera 3 is going to right now be shooting a wide shot. I'm setting it up so we have a wide shot of the host in the background and of camera 1, but it's not going to be the prettiest shot for this show. So what we have is ME. ME is going to be set up with boxes, okay? And it's going to have the host on one side and the guest on the other. So it kind of gives us a 2-shot that we don't have with this kind of a setup for what's going on right now. But it'll let you have your 2 talent on the same shot at one time. I have asked everybody to have a red and a blue pen. Anything that is going to be in red is going to mean ready. Anything that is in blue or black is going to mean take or execute. This way, when I'm reading down my script and I see different colors, in my brain I should register anything in red means ready. Rather than having a script that has a whole bunch of writing on it, I want to keep it pretty clean. So here's the first part of our script. So we know that if we're going to write anything in red, it is going to mean ready, and if we know we do anything in blue or black, it is going to be take. Like I said, I like to draw my floor plan. We drew it over on the side. I kind of like to put it up here so I can look at it when I am getting my shots ready. So I know I have my host here, my guest here. This is camera 1 and camera 2. All right, and 3 will be out here. So it just kind of helps me visualize things. All right, so when I am directing, I always want to remember audio first. that audio should never be an afterthought. Audio before video, audio before video, audio before video. So I want to ready audio first. Audio takes longer to happen than video takes. So what I'm going to do is, first thing that's going to happen is going to be music. So ready, music. And then my first piece of video is going to be a roll-in. So next thing I want to do is ready my roll-in. Okay. Then I have to start the show. So I'm going to switch to my other color. We start all shows with a fade. We don't take or cut or dissolve up. We fade up. So ready music, ready roll-in. All right. Fade up music. Fade up roll-in. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is it has us dissolving to a wide shot and then dissolving to a shot of the host. So what we'll do in red, ready, 3. Okay. Dissolve to 3. This crescendo, decrescendo can be a sign for a dissolve. Okay. Now we have to get ready for people to start talking. All right. So the host is on camera 1. So we're going to say ready, mic, and cue. Ready 1. And then mic and cue. Dissolve to 1. Okay? So we've read through this on the side. And now our host is going to be talking. Our host is going to say, good morning or good afternoon and welcome to Conversations. I'm your host. Notice there's a blank spot right here. You are going to write an opening for your show. Everybody's show can be a little different. Good morning and welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Fred. Today we're going to be talking about blah, 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 blah. And then joining me to talk about this is George. Okay? So you guys will write this middle section, maybe give it like 3 sentences, and then what we're going to do is we need to see a shot of our guest. So where is our guest? What camera is our guest on? Camera 2. Our guest is on camera 2. So down in here, let's say joining me to talk about this. Let's ready 2. Remember, anything in red means ready. And then about or is, let's say we're going to take 2. So take your dark color, your black or your blue, and bring it over to the end and circle it. This way, when you read down your script, it's pretty clear and easy to read. Okay? When the guest pops up, they're not going to speak right away. They're just going to kind of smile and nod. Because what happens if they start a conversation here, it takes a while to get into the roll-in, and the show is only going to be 5 minutes, so it's going to go really quickly. So just let the person react. So as you can see, it says guest, shot, and greeting. Okay? So when you're saying thank you for joining us, we're going to ready the host again. So let's ready 1, and at the end of the reaction shot and greeting, take 1. Okay. Now our host is on camera. I'm going to pan down so we can see more of this. Host is on camera, and they are saying, let's take a look at our first clip. So what the host is doing is he's telling, or she's telling, the director and the technical director and audio that we're going to look at a clip. So people are going to have to start making things happen. So as the director, when they're starting to say this, we are going to say, ready VTR, roll VTR, and then we have to execute it, so we will dissolve to VTR. Okay? When this happens, the audio knows that they're going to be pulling down the mic and bringing up the VTR, because we don't want to hear the person underneath in the studio talking during the clip. The technical director knows that they're going to be running from camera 1 into a roll-in, We dissolve because it looks prettier. A cut can be too hard when you're coming out of the studio and into a roll-in. When you guys all know your shows, we're going to have in and out cues here that we will put. So you can say to your crew, we're coming back when he says stop. We're coming back when he says stop. Or it might be a musical piece and we only know we're going to have 20 seconds of it. So your AD will be counting us out. We're coming back in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And while that's happening, the director has to get ready to go back to the studio. So while this is going on, remember we have to ready things. We have to ready mic and cue. Okay, and then what camera do we want to come back to? We may want to come to 3, or we may want to go to ME, just because those are kind of a bump shot rather than going right back in to the host or the guest. So let's try to go with ready ME, because that'll be my 2 shot. And then we're going to mic and cue, dissolve to ME. When we dissolve to ME, it's going to be 2 people on camera. And then as they start to talk, we will switch back and forth. With the Q&A, I can't go and figure everything out before we get into the conversation, because I want to see the person who's talking, but the person who's listening may be making a great reaction shot. Or I want to watch, and as their mouths open, then I want to switch. So this is where we're going to be watching our monitors, and we'll start to make decisions on the fly. So that makes it really kind of fun, and we can follow along with the conversation. At about 2:30, when we have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the show, remember your AD is going to be timing this and giving us times. We'll start at 5, so you're at 4:30, you're at 4, you're at 3:30, you're at 3, you're at 2:30, you're at 2, you're at 1:30, you're at 1, 45, 30, 20, 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So at about 2:30, we want to go to our second clip. And our host is going to say something to toss to the next clip, like, hey, let's take a look at our next clip. Floor manager is going to cue them to the next clip. When you are the talent and you see the floor manager cue you, it doesn't mean stop abruptly. It means let the talent finish their thought, and then we can say something like, let's take a look at our next clip. If the talent keeps babbling, the floor manager may be sitting there spinning their hand really fast, and if that happens, then you want to go and say, hold that thought, we'll be right back, we need to take a look at a next clip. So while we're getting ready for our next clip, we have to do the same thing. So it's going to be ready VTR, roll VTR, dissolve to VTR. The clip will be playing, and then what do we have to do to get back to that Q&A? We're going to say, ready mic and cue, ready ME, mic and cue dissolve to ME. So now again, we have that 2 shot. They'll be speaking back and forth, and you'll start cutting based on how their conversation goes. At about 30 seconds, I want you to have your floor manager wrap everything up. So they'll give them the wrap it up cue. Our host is going to say, that's all the time we have. I'd like to thank George for joining us. I'm Fred. We'll see you next time on Conversations. So we have a lot of different ways things can happen. If we have a lot of time, let's say they wrap it up and we still have 25 seconds left. What we can do is we want to see our host, and our host is on 1. That's all the time I have. I'd like to thank. Then you can ready 2. We say their name, we take it. I'm such and such. We go back to 1. We'll see you on Conversations. Now you have options too. We might want to go to 3. If it looks interesting, we might want to go to ME, or we might just want to stay on the host. But we do want to see the guest for goodbye. And then we'll say ready black. Okay. And fade to black. You can either write fade to black, Or you could give me a decrescendo. So think of that as that's a fade to black. If our show is running long and I've wrapped them up, they haven't said goodbye, and I've got 10 seconds left, I may want to go to that ME so I can see the two of them in the shot, and the host will say, that's all the time we have. I'd like to thank George for joining us. I'm Fred, and we'll see you next time on Conversations. And then you hopefully will be able to sneak in some music if you have enough time and fade to black. If you don't have time for music, you're not going to be able to put it in. But if you do, you want to get it in. This is where this gets fun, and it's not set in stone.